Okay, one more minute, I think.
Okay.
We've got, I see universities from around Israel.
Yeah.
Open University, Hebrew University, every city, look at that. Haifa and one from Israel Valley College and Hadassah. I don't know where that is. Great.
Jerusalem.
Oh, Jerusalem, thanks.
Awesome.
Okay, that's nice. All right, so shall we get started? Is everybody ready? Let me know in the chat if you're ready.
Or show us thumbs up.
There's also a heart there if you want to show your hearts. All right. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to our first out of 4 seminar sessions. Each one is 90 minutes. Today's April 7, and this is a lecture. There's another panel discussion on April 21st and a workshop hands-on, so get ready for that. April 28th and a final lecture on May 5th. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone. If you could just, if you haven't already done so, add where you're from and how you're doing, and we'll get started. My name is Nelile Deutsch, and I'll be hosting along with Ludmila Smirnova. So if Ludmila's moving the slides, we'll get going here on evaluating online courses and what to consider. So I'm sure you've seen this. This is about the session today and what we'll be talking about, but we'll be talking about additional things. And if you have any questions, of course, we'll relate to that, and that will be added to it as well. So a little bit about me. I've been involved in online teaching since 1992, which has been an amazing adventure. Yes, but it's been amazing because it's like every year it starts afresh because there are new teachers, new students, everybody seems to be at different levels. And the old veteran online teachers have moved on in most cases. I use Moodle for my LMS, and I've been using Moodle as an admin and supporting other teachers and even organizations. I install Moodle, I support Moodle as admin, and I also have my own server. So I also manage a server, really exciting. And I love Moodle. Which everyone who knows me knows about. I provide free Moodle training for anyone who's interested and other online events. And you can see a bit more about me there. The slides, of course, will be available, so you'll get a chance to look at this again. And my co-host today, Ludmila.
Yes, and well, actually, I am originally from Russia, but it's my 21st year in the United States, and I am teaching at Mount St. Mary College in Newark, New York. And I've been teaching different courses, and I was one of the first at my college who was introducing online teaching and have been teaching online since 2003. And in 2005, I think, we met with Nellie online. And first we met each other online and designed together Moodle workshops. And we were running these workshops together. And then somewhere in 2007, and then when did you defend your thesis? 2010? Mm-hmm. So we met online, in person, when Nellie came to defend her, get her
No,
degree.
this was, I think this was in Philadelphia, actually. We gave a workshop.
Yeah. So, but still, so since then, since 2010, we were presenting both online and in person. And co-authoring books and
Papers,
articles,
research.
and working, yes, doing research and doing online workshops. So, and it's great to reconnect again and share our experience of teaching online and evaluating online. So, so we introduced ourselves, and it's time to learn who you are, who joined us today for this session. And we would like you to go to menti.com and tell us why you're here, who you are, and what your purpose, the purpose of your attending this seminar, this workshop, this event. So please share, and we will see the results. So you can use the QR code, which is easy. Just take your phone with QR reader, or type in menti.com and use the code. It's a great tool, Mentimeter. So it's a great tool to use to see the results, quick polls. And by the way, there are many tools right now using these features. There is AHA Slides, another program, and Poll Everywhere actually also use similar features. They are trying to compete with each other. All right, so let's see if we can see the results. Let me go and see. Wow. Okay. Networking, student ways of learning, research methods, understand, learn, improve. These are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful reasons to.
I like that, time for learning.
Yeah.
That's always a good time.
Yeah. And the student ways of learning is the biggest. It means that almost everybody mentioned this. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, and then the second is, what is your role or status? If you click next, tell us. So who is in the audience?
Teacher, administrator, designer, other. If you're an other, can you write in the chat what
Yes.
other you are?
Yeah.
Unless that's Arya, the other.
Administrator. So we have diverse.
Well, administrator in the sense of head of department.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yes, that's who evaluate. So it's nice to know.
No designers. Okay, great.
No designers. All right. And experience. Yeah, we would like to see what the experience is. In online teaching.
Experience?
Teaching online.
Online, yes.
Teaching online.
Teaching online, yes. Teaching online.
So if the students are using Moodle in class, it's not considered online.
Well, it's blended, but it's online. Yeah, it's still online.
Oh, it is online. Okay.
Yeah, because it's blended,
online.
but that's, yeah.
Oh, we have diverse audience.
But notice we've got 1.5 not real people, halves. 0.3. Okay.
Okay. So, we've got diverse audience. We have.
Can you make that
teachers.
larger? Sorry.
Well, this is yeah. We will move to the next slide, but it's yeah. So you
Great.
see, okay.
All right. So you mentioned Moodle and that you're face-to-face. Yeah, can you go back?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to look at is purpose. Whatever role you happen to have. We noticed there were a few administrators, teachers, heads, which is not exactly administrator, but it's a combination. It's not the school administration or the management of the university or K-12, and other factors that go into consideration. For example, if you're administrator, you might be interested in what's happening, but you don't actually teach. I don't know if that's in your case. When you're a head of a department, you probably teach as well, but some administrators do not teach, and they're interested in knowing and evaluating online courses for various reasons. If their focus could be the learner satisfaction, because they're interested in retaining as many students as they can and not losing anybody. So learner satisfaction would be very important to the administration, also to the teacher, of course, but for different reasons. And again, the format, we've got asynchronous, synchronous, and bold, which is blended online learning. It's fully online, but with a combination of asynchronous and synchronous, not just one or the other. And what today's called hybrid, and Ludmila has another.
Yes. In the United States, there's another term. It's called high flex. That says when the teacher teaches online and has students in class, that actually in the real classroom, but at the same time teaching in-class students and through online. And I'm right now I'm observing student teachers, and that's what happens. The teacher is teaching in person in fifth grade, for example, and at the same time gives instructions and suggestions to students who are at home through the computer. So it's called high flex.
Okay, whatever we call it, I think that during COVID and lockdown or semi-lockdowns, school had a combination of things that maybe don't even have names, where they might be using the phone as well, and maybe messaging systems like WhatsApp, where it's not really a synchronous system, but they used it. So whatever was used is online, as long as the teacher was not really, nobody was there physically in any way. And then of course implementation, how a teacher would implement the content and the activities, whether they were active or not active, interactive activities or just content. So these are things that would interest the administration as well as the teacher to see how things worked. Teachers are focused on what they do because they want to improve it, and it's the same for the online teacher. The designer, of course, is interested in the whole picture. How did it work? How was navigation, the appearance? Did the students manage, and the teacher, of course, find the layout appealing? Was it hard to navigate or not? And I'm sure everyone here has had experience with issues that students have navigating the system, whether it's whatever LMS it is. And that's something that we should keep in mind. Ludmila, do you want to go to the next?
Yeah. And what we noticed, and what was really a pleasant discovery, and that most of the answers about the purpose was student learning. And when you speak about evaluation, you always think about different things. And we would like, can you write in the chat, what is evaluation for you? Can you please write what evaluation for you? What is evaluation? So
and if you've got
please-
2 roles, because I noticed Ludmila, I was looking at the chat, some have more than 1 role, which is fine. So you could write whatever role, it might be, very different. A teacher may have different definition for evaluation than an administrator or a head of a department or a teacher, trainer.
So what is evaluation for you? Yeah, we wanted to really see where we are at one point in understanding what evaluation is. Achieving student growth, evaluating the quality of course and the extent to which their purposes are achieved.
If you're writing quality of courses, is it possible to maybe explain? Because that's an amazing word.
Yeah.
And quality
Okay.
does matter. Oh, student growth and student transformation. Great.
Instructors reach their goals. Yeah. Okay, help both. All right. So when we were discussing with Nellie the concepts of evaluation, then it usually what happens in practice, the concepts of evaluation and assessment come to place, and sometimes they are considered to be interchangeable. But assessment and evaluation have differences. And what is assessment? Assessment is ongoing process of measuring student performance, improving student learning. And that's what I liked about our previous question in your answers, that you are all focused on student learning. Evaluation, on the other hand, is a systemic process of determining the value or worth of instruction and program. And some of you even mentioned, so the quality and the value and of instruction. So assessment is focused on specific on learners most of the time. And when we evaluate courses, that's a general view of the course. And assessment, again, is focusing on student performance. And when we evaluate, we look at the student satisfaction, how course was viewed by students. But all of the both concepts actually look at teacher performance. So when we discuss the concepts of evaluation, we still keep assessment in mind, because assessment is a combination of measures that we use in order to see the results of student learning and us as teachers performing. Nellie, do you want to add anything, or we'll move on? So the types of evaluations. They depends on the purpose. There is the formative evaluation. It's when we focus on process, and the purpose is to how the course is implemented, how to improve it, and usually it's an internal process, and evaluation of this type is usually on the institution level. Summative evaluation, we are looking on the outcome, and how appropriate for better established programs actually, and what programs leaders have settled on their best policies, how it worked, and so what the outcomes of the courses are. And this can be also summative for it in institution, but mostly it looks from outside, external, by the administration of the district or the state or country. And the impact. What is the impact of evaluation? How it helped to change the outcomes of the course, and how it contributed to specific changes in lessons design or assessment tools design and accountability. And of course, there are different types of evaluation from the point of view of analysis. What are you using? What measures do you use in order to see the results? There are qualitative and there are quantitative types of evaluation. So, I liked when you were speaking about quality. So this actually triangle shows that there are three types what quality we are looking on and we evaluate. So quality of teaching, and we look at the performance evaluation. We look at the quality of learning, student learning. And these are measures within the course used by the teachers. And we looked at the how these course really proved and helped students to grow and learn. And of course, a quality of course design. And here there are different measures, there are different evaluation systems or platforms that used at many US universities and actually internationally. Quality Matters is the platform and program that is used, the criteria and standards are used to evaluate courses online. So, and there is always a discussion. And by the way, it's interesting to tell you that the first evaluation system was used and it started actually in 2001 by Park University in the United States. And what happened that they used the evaluation of courses in person, face-to-face courses, they used the same principles they applied to online courses. And of course, as a result, later on they discussed, and there was an article in a research article about that it's not the same. The teaching online and teaching face-to-face is different. The same happened during pandemic. Before the pandemic, all teachers, they were in some courses, and for example, at my university, there was a big discussion about online teaching. It's a liberal arts college, and teachers will mostly focus on face-to-face teaching. But during pandemic, it happened, so everybody got online. And so, and of course, it's not just taking face-to-face course and converting it into into virtual teaching. It's different. There are different aspects and there is different focus, like you see here. So it's the climate and community building will be different, and areas, topics, like topics, how they are reviewed, how they're presented, how they are designed, what is the design, how is it different, and how the teacher engages students in interaction, how you learn your students online, and how you make people, how you create community of learners, and how you organize the course and build the assessment tools that help you see how students learn. And and what is the big picture? When you use different platforms, and we know that there are different platforms. My college used to use, we used to have a WebCT, and then we tried everything, and then we decided that we will stay with Moodle. And my husband's college, they used Moodle, and suddenly the administration, within the difficulties, they decided to use Canvas. And my husband is very unhappy about that. But so Moodle is really has all the tools available for interesting design and also for evaluation. So, and this platform supports synchronous teaching, how you can combine them for hybrid or blended learning, HyFlex, how you can use messaging, and is the support available in that? So, and when you design schedule, how you design this through yearly or monthly, hourly, or, and again, is there a support? And who is using and evaluating the platform and courses? So these are stakeholders, and how this content is presented, in what way? Is the syllabus interactive? Because sometimes it's an online course, but the syllabus is presented in a traditional paper kind of format. For example, this year I used Google Sites to create my syllabus, and it was really received by students with interest. And what I also designed to, I created for helping students or encouraging students to read the syllabus. I implemented Easter eggs with tasks that students had to find the Easter egg, complete the task, and connect with me, or share what they found on some common space. So before the course started, I already made students interact with each other and with me, and share their resources, their findings already. By the time they came to class, they already saw each other's presentations, they saw each other's communication, and how it prepared them to be in online class. So is this content, how content is accessible? Is it research-based? How issues of copyright is followed. So there is a question, what did Ludmila use? You mean when I designed the syllabus? I can share with you maybe during workshop. I use Google Sites.
Besides Google Sites, you mentioned something else before the course. Besides Google Sites,
Canvas is another learning
Canvas.
management system.
No, that's in the other college they use. But before you sent to your students something, I don't know.
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, Easter eggs. Yes, I designed just to make them interested in to read the syllabus, because I can share my website and you will see. I implemented those Easter eggs in the pages of the syllabus, and while they are reading, they had to find those eggs and complete the tasks. Yes, it was big hit, and I also requested students to, in one of the tasks of the syllabus of the Easter egg, was to look at the Bitmoji and create their Bitmoji, and they had to share their Bitmojis. And because I also use my Bitmojis in my syllabus. So because during pandemic, many teachers were using Bitmojis to create a presence in their courses, and they are slides, and that's what I was teaching my students. I teach at the education program, so that's why. So, and as far as the tools is concerned, so the tools that we use to evaluate are content-based, process-based, team-based, individual or interactive. How are they curated, and how engaged people are in the process of evaluation, how multimedia is used, and what is the quizzes, how quizzes are used, and how they are integrated in the grading system and in the course. So, Nelly, would you like to add anything?
No, I think you've covered everything. I just wanted to say that as far as tools go, I realize that not everyone, I don't know about this audience, but I know that not every teacher uses interactive tools with their students. Ludmila and I do, but many teachers use Moodle, for example, where they just use it as a repository, they just add content, and they ask students to read and to watch videos and so on, and that's as far as it goes. And then students take a quiz, and that's their lesson. So we're talking about different ways here of using tools and the content, and making sure before you start the course that the content that you add is not just anything, but you have tried it out and you know that it will work, or to a certain extent. So you're not just adding things, from whatever reasons for your convenience, but you're actually thinking about everything that you add as a teacher. And everything has to mean something. It has to be there for a reason.
Yeah, and the reason is student learning. Our task is to engage students in learning and make it meaningful. And that's why tools are really important. And so what is involved? So before we just go to this kind of process, so what is involved? Of course, instructional design, and there are different models. The most popular and the most usable is AD model, analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. It was designed in 2015. Content, and what we just mentioned and discussed is multimedia, how multimedia is involved and how it's interactive, how content engages students in learning, and how students interact with content and the teacher and colleagues or peers. And is it relevant? Is it authentic? And it involved an instructor. So is the instructor experienced? Is the instructor had some training? Is the instructor aware of principles of effective, good teaching online? And is the teacher, instructor, and teaching autonomous? And what is the support for teachers for gaining that experience? Is how the system at the institution is supporting teachers best practices and professional development. And learner is involved too. How is learner autonomous? Are learners prepared to be online? And are they independent learners? Because that's how an online teaching actually requires students being independent learners. Because if students don't know how to learn, so teacher works twice to equip students with those skills and also teach content. So learner's autonomy, How are they active? Are they engaged with the content? How they engaged with peers and instructor? So these are all very important aspects in course evaluation before you start evaluating. So all these important components of the process. And
Ludmila, I just want to
is,
mention,
yeah,
sorry, I just want to mention with learner autonomy, it's not that easy for many teachers to give up their control and to allow their students to be independent, and because they're afraid they'll make mistakes maybe and they want to protect them. So sometimes it takes practice for a teacher to let go for the sake of the student, but that's another topic.
Yeah. So do you want to comment on?
Yes, about a D. Actually, the D model started way before. 2015 is just the where we got
Publication. Yes,
Yeah.
a publication.
It was just one of the publications, but the AD model, which is, as you can see here, analyze, evaluate, design, implement, and develop, started out actually as an army, which is interesting. It started out for the army, but it kind of became very popular with online course designers. So it's for instructional course design. I'm wondering how many here have actually designed their courses, or does someone design your course for you? It'd be interesting to know whether you're designers as well as teachers, or just teachers and the course comes ready for you to just perhaps add the content, but not much more. How much freedom do you get to actually design the course at your school?
I think, may I?
Yes, yes, please.
I think in Israel, nobody receives a course
Freedom.
already done. Everybody has to design their own courses. Sometimes they get help from a technical point of view, but they do it on their own. I don't know of any college in Israel where people receive their course
Ready-made.
at the Open University, but everywhere else, the lecturers do the work by themselves.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you for that. Okay, so any questions about the instructional course design, about the AD model? Has anyone used it?
No?
No?
I heard about it
Mhm.
when I was teaching like in several years ago. I learned in my teaching credential also, and then my master's, but we use the understanding by design more.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Or I taught an intensive class also at Concordia University for Air Force soldiers that they learn Hebrew, and we use the understanding by design.
By
so
design.
My question is, what is the you mentioned that most of the time the EDI model is used for online. So what is the distinction? I'm more familiar with the understanding by design model, but why do the online classes or the designers prefer that over the UBD?
That's a good question, but yeah, you're right. It did become the model, and it's backward design, right? Where you actually want to know where you're going. So you're kind of starting with the end in mind, right?
Yes.
With a backward design, which is amazing, but it's for all courses. And your question about the difference between, say, evaluating or designing a face-to-face course and a fully online course is a really good question. From my perspective, there shouldn't be a difference, even though there is. And I think one of the main differences started because of historical reasons. They thought that anything online, now we know that it's not true, but they thought at the beginning of distance learning that anything online was less. So if it's less, let's try to do our best to ensure that we do analyze, and that we do a lot of work beforehand. And you can think of this as backward design. You're evaluating before you even start, and you do a little bit, you take a look at it, you intervene, you fix, you're always trying to make it something that's outstanding, so that nobody will say that your courses are less than face-to-face courses. I think that's where, the problem started. And that's why they came up with, let's be very, very research-based and very accurate in how we design our courses to make sure that nobody says that we're not as good as face-to-face courses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At the university that I teach now, we receive the content, we receive the curriculum, and I have suggestions. This is one of the reasons that I wanted also to participate in this class, because I can see how we can improve the online classes.
Excellent. And I think Concordia, from what I know of Concordia, I think that they're doing amazing work. And if they have most things ready for you, it's because they've gone through the research.
Oh,
And
the Concordia, I had to build the class. That was just like a very intensive course, and we had to design, the whole Hebrew team had to design the whole class. Now I'm talking about UCWV, the University of Charleston, West Virginia.
oh, you're the one who's living in California. I was wondering
Yeah.
about that. You said you're living in California, but you teach
But
in West Virginia.
Yes,
I figured
online
that.
program.
And that's the Concordia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're in the right place, because that's what we'll be doing in the course as well. So we'll talk about that. Glad to have you here.
Yeah. So now you would like
Yeah,
to...
so teacher best practices. Okay, so this is something Ludmila and I have been working as online teachers, as well as face-to-face, of course, but also fully online for a number of years. And we seem to have developed the same attitude. And I think there's a lot of attitude involved to how you see learning and not teaching, because and I think Ludmila would agree with me, we focus on our learners and on learning. And that's why generally it's called learning online, because the learning is more important for some reason online. And face-to-face, it's more about lectures at the university level, of course. But teacher best practices is actually trying things out. Believing whatever belief system you have. And I think most teachers have these belief systems, and trying them out to see if they work, not just doing what your teachers did with you, what you're used to, trying things out to see if they work with the students or not. And I think that COVID did give a lot of teachers a chance to test out and see what works best for you, because these are important elements when we talk about the experience of learning. It's not so much about content, it's about what the learner experiences, and of course with the teacher as well, because the teacher is also part of the learning process. It's reciprocal. The teacher learns from the students' questions and from the students' difficulties. That's when we learn best. It's about doing hands-on activities and not just being a passive learner, but being an active learner, and teachers giving up some of their control so that students can be asking the questions, because they're the learners. And we need to remember that online as well as face-to-face. And active experimentation, not just by the teacher, but also by the student. And this makes teaching online, by the way, a lot of fun, because you can do these things. You can try things out and see how they work. And of course, reflecting, not just the student, but also the teacher. And the more reflections that go into it, the more learning. And as you mentioned in the chat, growth, that's what it's about. It's about growing both personally and professionally. That's what learning is about. And why not add or ensure that these ingredients are part of our courses. And of course, thinking, okay, which is definitely part of the whole thing. And that's the 4 steps. This is Kolb, by the way, the Kolb cycle. Kobe and his wife, Alice, they developed this together. And this is not new. It's coming back, but it's quite old. They came up with this, not just for online, but also for learning in general. Yes, Ludmila, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that that's the 4 steps of learning. And these are all systems. They actually are all based on best practices and best principles of teaching. So good practices 7, and this very famous approach to good practices in undergrad education, Checkering and Gassam designed, and many evaluation systems, many evaluation rubrics, how to evaluate courses are based on these 7 principles, which are about encourage contact between students and faculty, develop reciprocity and cooperation among students, encourage active learning, give prompt feedback, emphasize time on task, communicate high expectations, and respect diverse talents and ways of learning. So these are principles. They are and good for good practice, and not just for online teaching. They are good practice principles for in general for good teaching. So, and by keeping this in mind, keeping this principle in mind when you design a course, and then when the course is over and or during the course, so that's how it's evaluated. And many rubrics, evaluation rubrics that administrators or teachers, when they design a course, use based on these 7 principles.
I think, Ludmila, what's also important to note, and you mentioned this, that this is not just for the online environment, but also for the face-to-face,
Yes.
is the fact that the principles were written up, the 7 principles, in 1987, when the internet was, at its beginning, and there weren't that many distance, though in those days they call it distance learning, but it's still applicable.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were looking through different rubrics from different universities, that's what showed that many of those rubrics are designed based on those principles. And what are the components of evaluation system? And they are student evaluation of instruction, how students evaluate, faculty self-evaluation, how the faculty, the professor or teacher evaluates their own teaching and student learning. Is there professional development plan in place at the institution? Faculty peer review, who evaluates, how they evaluate, in what way? Is there a system in place? Are teachers using portfolios, electronic portfolios, and how this course evaluation is integrated in faculty portfolio, and supervisors evaluation of faculty. And so what I was saying, that if there is a system in place, then there is a rubric that is used by many categories, by faculty themselves, by faculty, peer faculty, and also supervisors. Administration would use the same rubric. And so now I would like to comment on a number of rubrics from different institutions, from different universities. And so these are, these rubrics actually are available on universities' websites. And this is a University of Oklahoma. And so the categories there, you see there in color. So they are course instruction and information. So on the left side, there are categories, what the peer evaluator or any evaluator is looking at. Instructor, is there in information about the instructor? Instructor introductory discussion, how the teacher introduces the course. Is there a special place or space in the course with start here with major information about the course, and how the teacher introduces the expectations, the rules, the etiquette, and what is expected, what technical skills or any skills are expected. Does the teacher have pre-assessment of students' learning before the course starts? For example, in my courses, I usually design a special survey where I learn about students and know where they are at. And it, depending on the course content, I also design some kind of pre-test to know where they stand at the beginning of the course. Then the syllabus. Is the syllabus, is there a sample or is the outline a requirement at the university level or at institution level, that is with the elements that are required, are they in place? Schedule, homepage. So this is course introduction and information. Course formatting and layout, how this is evaluated. So course navigation, modules, consistency, images, how it's all colors and aesthetics of the course, instructional materials and content. So on the left side, these are categories and criteria, and on the right side, the place for feedback. So evaluator, whoever it is it a peer evaluator or teacher, a professor or faculty, him, herself, or administrator. So instructional materials and content, assessment of learning, how instructions are for those aspects of the course, what types of assessment are involved, what complexity is, how outcomes presented, and what due dates and discussions, quizzes, all these things, and grading, how is grading occurs in the course. So this is one of the rubrics at its University of Oklahoma. The most used and most kind of presentable, this peer review guide from Penn State became a very popular document that is used by many teachers, and it is also presented in many books about online teaching. So what they did, and that's why we spoke about principles of good practices, that's what they use in their course evaluation. They use all 7 principles of good teaching. So, for example, again, and this is interactive PDF file. So I think I have a link. If we go, yes, this is. I can also share this link for you in the chat, so you can have access to it.
Ludmila, I shared
Yeah.
the link to the presentation, so everything is there. They'll be able to get it from the reference
I
page.
just wanted, I wanted to show that
No,
this is
fine.
this is an interactive format. So, and there are instructions for teachers, peer review process, and 7 principles are in place. And then every principle, and there are categories, what we would like, what the peer reviewer would see. Good practice encourages contact between student and faculty, and examples. There are examples, and can be used by teachers by professors who are designing courses. They can look at this and then design, and the evaluator would write their review, their feedback, and showing the evidence that they found, and then strengths and areas for improvement. That's how this rubric is built for every principle out of 7 principles. I think this is one of the most effective and most kind of adaptable formats, I would say. So they, what happened? Wait. Okay, so this is I wanted to share with you experience at my college. So and the history goes back, and I was one of the first people who the online was not accepted, and not accepted, it was not welcome. So, and our technology committee, it was called ATAC committee, was ad hoc committee. It was not standing committee. So it took quite a few years to design a proposal and be established as a standing committee, that it's counted, and they have a chance now to participate in the decisions. And the Office of Digital Learning and Instructional Design was also implemented just recently, and we have a director who is very talented and a great so Kristen de la Sala. So she's really working hard to make online teaching effective and countable. So what was done is that we designed this system that professors, faculty, in order to teach online, they have to have a special course, pre-teaching online course. And so this summer, or actually last summer, before the pandemic, that course was offered and was required by teachers. That teachers or professors would take that course to teach effectively and productively online. And so this course, pre-teaching course, online course, consists of these 5 modules. And the first module is introduction and overview, where professors check their technological readiness for the course, and their understanding of teaching and what learning is about, and how learning becomes active, and how to engage students in active learning. Module 2, in module 2, there is a conversation about how to arrange the course from the point of view of teachers supporting students in learning, how to engage students in learning, how to engage students in effective interaction. So module 3 is the module where faculty learned about different types of assessment, not just tests, but also authentic ways of assessment, and what are measures, what you use, and accessibility issues are also involved. Module 4 was devoted to technology, different types of technology, different types of tools that teachers can use in order to engage students in active interaction and learning. And module 5, and in each module, faculty were building and like parts of their course. And in module 5, they had to design course syllabus, which is also our department provided a sample of, based on best practices, what online course should look like. And also the professor was supposed to provide course, at least one module based on all those principles that they just were learning in other modules. They had to also design one module at least for the course, and then they had to submit this to our online department, and then they also had to look at the course review tool. There is also an interactive course review tool, and oops, I wanted so. And this course module, it's also interactive PDF where you look at each section of your course and you check, did I use this? Did I have start here module? Did I introduce, do I have a page with introduction, teacher introduction? Do you have, so all these aspects that just learned in that course. And when the faculty submit all the required elements, they are given this certificate I just shared with you, certificate of readiness for teaching online. And so also our college introduced the digital badges, types of digital badges, and so teachers are given badges. This is of a certification of online, or it's well done. There are different types of, and how many professional development events you participated. So it's all building also teachers' portfolios. And so that's, I think we, my college really went through different stages of accepting the validness and value of online teaching. And right now, I think we are in a great place. And several faculty members were trained. So in the as a basis for our rubric, evaluation rubric of the course, is the quality matters. And several faculty, and I'm also scheduled to be trained in quality matter. So they are given the rights, and so these faculty are using this rubric, they evaluate courses. And this summer also, we are going to a team of faculty experienced in online teaching. They are invited to participate in the platform, our learning management system platform review, and also the rubrics review and the process of evaluation, because faculty are required. So before teaching online, they have to take this course, pre-teaching online course, where they learn about all the principles of online teaching. And then during teaching, so there is a peer review and self-review of the course. And every 3 years, teachers have to take this refresher course. There is a initial course allowing to teach online, and then there is a refresher course with new information, with new results, and new research about online teachers. So that's I wanted to share with you from the experience at my college. So, Nellie.
And yeah, I wanted to say, sorry, I wanted to say that I was there when the college, I mean, I went through the whole process, and I'm amazed at how far the university went through, but Ludmila's college was very anti online, just like a lot of other universities in the United States and maybe around the world. I don't know about your universities here in Israel, but they were really, really against it. and now they're doing such an amazing job with all these workshops and teacher training. So it's really nice to see that things are moving. I mean, the reasons may not have been good, but you know, the results are good.
Yeah. And so the parts of that rubric that I was telling you, there are course information, course design and organization, aesthetic design and accessibility, interaction and collaboration in the course, effective use of technology, assessment evaluation, accreditation compliance, because our program is accredited by and CAPE, CAPE, it's called now CAPE, and also New York State has specific requirements. For example, time on task in online education, and every in our course we have special place where it says if it's a 14-week traditional semester course, how much of instruction should last, and what supplemented activities, and about students, how students how many hours students have to spend online, and how many hours per semester. So this is compliance with this New York State requirements. So yes, it's I think we are in good place, but still we're growing because a lot of work to do, and the issues of privacy, the issues of copyright are very important and valued by faculty and raised by many professors who are going to teach online. So. And so these are several rubrics, and so that's what you can see, that all these different rubrics, but they all have in mind 7 principles of best practices, good teaching. So they can be different, but at the same time, they have similarity in applying to the core principles of good teaching. So, Nellie, we were. It's interesting what platforms your schools or your universities are using. Can you share in the?
I think they mentioned it. I asked that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I asked it before, and apparently Moodle is used in
Moodle.
Israel. I'm not sure about Concordia. I think Concordia also. Do they use Blackboard or Moodle?
With that was just a 1-month intensive class. I'm not teaching them.
Oh, I see. I think
they used that was in the language village, like a department of
languages.
And they wanted us to use Google Classroom. You know, last year I wasn't there. That was the first time that I worked. That was just 1 month intensive course. But with my other university, we use Moodle.
Yeah.
Anyone else here not use Moodle? Have you tried Canvas, or maybe you tried it on your own? Microsoft Teams or Google Classrooms?
Yeah, I am connected with, but right now we're collaborating with Italy and Institute, the University of Federico in Nepal. They use Microsoft Teams, and we had some communication. We will invite them on Zoom, and they will invite us to Microsoft Teams and their platform. So Google Classroom is widely used. Most school districts are using Google Classroom, and Google Classroom actually improved. I was using Google Classroom in my class. I designed some of the assignments, not just on Moodle, but I designed on Google Classroom, and students, just to teach students how to operate on Google Classroom, to know how it works and how, from the point of view of them, of students, being students. But then we use Google Classroom when we visit, we do field work in Google Classroom and Google Meet, through Google Meet. And my students post assignments, they grade the assignments of students. I think Google Classroom is a well-designed program. There are perks, of course, but I really like how it works, and students learn how to interact through Google Classroom. So, but it's
Yes,
yeah.
go ahead. You did, yes.
Did you have experience with Schoology? I took one.
I
class
did. Yes,
once,
I have. But it's no longer free. That's the problem now. And they've changed in the last, I think, year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question that I have about the principles, is there any reference also to the UDL, the Universal Design of Learning, when
Yes.
you build?
It's in the reference section. We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
And also universal, we actually also, my college is using universal design for teaching, yes, for learning. The principles, they are also introduced in that, in those modules. Universal design is also introduced to teachers, and teachers are learning how to design course based on universal design of learning, yes. And so the 5 points to consider in designing course and evaluation is very important. And this is actually based on the findings of designers and users of talent management system called Talent. But it's universal. So what are you looking at? At visual appeal and branding? Is the design of the course visually appealing, clearly branded, and customized to the audience that you are teaching? And is it responsive and scalable across different devices? For example, why I chose to design the syllabus on the website, because Google Sites, because students can access it on any device. If it's a paper kind of, it's a PDF, so it's very difficult to navigate. But if you on iPad or iPhone, you look at that website, you can easily navigate the pages of the syllabus. Instructional design, how do you know that learners are navigating the learning paths in the most effective ways? So how appropriate learning materials, do they best suited learning materials match each type of learning outcome? So are they aligned? Do you have objectives, and how all the materials fit the objectives and the learning outcomes? The assessment process, are the assessments set at the appropriate difficulty level? Are they diverse? Does teacher provide feedback? How soon the feedback is provided? And cultural fit, how it's compatible with the learners that you are teaching. So these 5 points, I think, also good to have in mind when designing the course and then evaluating. So I just mentioned badges, and Nelly actually almost an expert in adding. I remember when we were designing on Moodle courses, we also use badging system. So Nelly, you would like to comment?
Yes, I love badges. And the reason I love using digital badges, and Moodle really makes life easy for us, because with every activity or resource, you can make it conditional, and then they receive their badges. And I teach adults. And they love it. But there's something else now too, Ludmila. There's also levels. So they get level up, and that's no matter what they do, the more they do, the more they respond in the discussions and do activities.
Bringing gamification to the process. It's gamification.
So it really encourages everybody to to be active, but the badges drive my adult students, the teachers, I teach teachers, it drives them crazy. They stay up at night to get those badges. So
Yeah.
I'll show you what kind of things we do on Moodle later on, but badges are really, I mean, you'd think that adults would not prefer badges, but they do. In fact, they prefer it more than the certificates. So badging.
Well,
is great.
yes, in an hour at my college, actually, we have a discussion right now. Right now I'm also in professional development committee, and one of the topics was raised if we use badging system, badge tracking system, because it's. We started it, and a few years ago we had a special coordinator of professional development, and she actually is not with us anymore, but that's she introduced this idea, and yeah, professors liked it because if you participated in a few professional development events, you get this. It's like Nelly said about a level up. And there are different badges for different types of faculty activities. Right now, we are discussing it. Who would track it? Who would be doing it? So it's a kind of it requires thinking, because if you do it within the course, I also try to design in my courses, but it requires work, and it requires support, because Moodle really supports this idea, because it was born within Moodle, and you can create that level up. But how to do it on the institutional level? So it's really, so who will be tracking it? Who would be recording it? Where the badges appear? Well, actually, I was clicking on that link, and it appeared on my page, on my faculty page, that those badges actually were on my page, my faculty page. So, but it's only for me to view, but I don't know who else can view those pages. So, and so Nelly.
Also, I think,
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I think it's also supports like brain research, because it releases dopamine. You know,
That's right.
You get a reward, and then
Yep.
it increases motivation.
Yes,
So
it is.
it
Very.
doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah,
you get a
universal
sticker,
design.
you know, in kindergarten, or you know, a badge in an online class. So it's a win-win.
That's
Yes,
right.
absolutely. Yes.
All right, so let's go on here. This is a tracking system. I'm going to refer to Moodle and show you some of the things and ways that you can actually evaluate the course based on various student reports and general reports. And the reports that Moodle gives you, and I hope that you're getting these reports, that the admin of your Moodle is allowing teachers to be able to see the reports, but I'm not sure. It has to be enabled by the admin of the Moodle site. First of all, they get the schedule when the course starts, and the admins, caregivers, teachers, parents can also get the reports. So everyone, the reports can be very, very transparent for whatever stakeholder is interested in them. The content, you can find out what content was viewed most. So if you're interested in knowing whether this particular video or this particular assignment was well received, you can get that information straight from the Moodle, and also about the assignments. You can also get information about the tools, the engagement. It's not just use of the tools, but the engagement, how much time they spent on it, on a certain activity, or how long they read. And Moodle really does track. It's not just is something that's part of science fiction. It does work. Also, you can track the audio, the video, the images, discussions, and the posts, and so on. Ludmila, do you want to go on?
Yeah.
So this is available if you're interested. So tracking is really important. And the reason it's important for me as a teacher is that it allows me to support the learner. If I know that a learner is lagging behind or does not seem to have a presence. They're not really there. And you can see that on the Moodle. You could even get their IPs, by the way, so you know where they're coming from. And it's not their neighbors doing their work. To support them and encourage them to come back on and to continue being active in the course. So it tells you a lot about the student. You track the student, you track their work and your delivery. If you're delivering a certain PowerPoint or a video, is it engaging? And then you can take action. Because the idea behind evaluating online courses, of course, is the action that you'll be taking. And the fact that you're intervening, you'll be intervening to see how you can help, trying things out, and hopefully getting results from whatever you did. Yes, go ahead.
Let me play devil's advocate, okay, for a moment.
Yes, go ahead.
Since we are talking about students, and in my case, especially about graduate students, where is the limit? Where is their responsibility? Until when do you, are you ready to be, their mother and take care of their...
Oh, you don't take care of them at all. They do the work. In other
they
words,
do the work, but...
you encourage, but you have to encourage, because especially now with COVID, a lot of, this is the time.
COVID is a different situation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right. But I hear what Roxana is saying, that students are not ready for independent learning.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's what probably Roxana means, that students are, they still want to be held by hand and show what to do, how to do it, and they want an A. It's I think it's a universal.
But I think it's our role not to promise them an A, and not to expect some level of maturity from our students,
right,
and to expect them to take some responsibility of their own.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I'm coming from teachers from around the world where they're having problems at all times, even, regardless of right now with COVID, but a student from India whose connection is really poor, or from Africa, from around the world. These are mature students. It's not that they need me to hold their hands, but they do need to know that there's someone out there who cares whether they come to class or not. Now, this doesn't have to be the teacher's job. It could be an assistant. You might have one of the students doing it. It doesn't always have to be the teacher doing it, but it could be the administration. It could be the school. There could be support people that the school has, but there's no way to get around it. Learners are always going to be, like children. They're always going to be like children. And, you're not their mother, but having a support system for anyone who's not able, something happened in the family, or their connection is poor, for whatever reason, you do have to support them in some way. That's the role of a teacher. It's the role of a caring person. And as I said, it doesn't have to be the teacher. The teacher can report it, or the administration can do the support. But I think having a support system, especially online, is very important.
Yeah, but at the same time, Roxana, at my college, what we do, we require students.
I think we've got 5 minutes left. I think Aria was trying to say that.
Students who take online course, they also take a course, orientation, how to learn online. And that's where they learn how to navigate the course, how to learn how to access different aspects. And if you have problem, where to find the support. It's very important. That's how support you show the support through this.
Okay, so let's continue, Ludmila, because we've got 4 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll have questions, and we'll have time. Don't forget, we'll be able to connect during the workshop. Exactly. So going very quickly through these slides, these are some of the ways that I'm able to get information about the student, but not just I. the administrators, whoever's involved, in order to provide the support for the student. You want to go on to the next one? So here too, I can find out when the student was last active. So I've got their progress, I've got their status. This is all from Moodle. And I also have a list of their names that I took out for various privacy reasons. I also get student progress report. And this is important for me as a teacher too. Maybe I'm the reason why the student is not performing. So, you know, the teacher does take responsibility. I mean, that's our job. You know, as teachers, we're not just information providers. They don't need us for that. They need us for other reasons, not just to provide information. They get information on the internet. So this is the kind of progress that you get. Notice the full name, online since. I can see if they're active, inactive. I can see their course progress, and so on. So this is available, for example, on a Moodle course. Go on.
Yeah,
Just go through
Moodle
these
has,
very quickly, Ludmila.
Yeah,
Okay, so this
sure.
is, notice in the progress, I can get course completion, dates, logs, also live logs, activity reports, course participation, activity completion, and event monitoring rules that I can add and get the information. So can you go on to the next one? And this I love. This is a block on the Moodle. It's called Student Progress Reports, where you can actually see how much the student's done, where they're not doing their work. So if they ask, why didn't I get my badge? All I have to do is go into this and see what activity they didn't do. So it really provides the teacher, whoever is doing the support, with lots of information. Go on. All right, so these are some of the challenges that you may encounter in evaluating online courses. Notice the item with your role as an admin, teacher, or student. You can find yourself here. And notice that support is mentioned right through, as well as presence, because presence is important, both yours or an assistant and the students present. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And that's how you evaluate whether the students are active or not active. So presence is crucial. Go on, Ludmila, and that's it. So let's go through the references very quickly. Notice there are links here that you can click on. I added the presentation link. It's available. You can copy it. You can download it. You can print it out. It's a Google Doc. You can also convert it to a PDF file. And that's it. So I'd like to thank everyone, since we've got 1 minute left, for joining us, and get your questions ready for the workshop. We'll, in fact, be able to have a lot of time for questions. So you've got, I think, 2 weeks to think about it and to come up with as many questions as you wish. So that's it. Ludmila, do you want to say the last words? Because we're 90 minutes.
Yes. Well, I think Avita wanted to say something, and he was saying something. And
oh, there's a question here about AI for tracking on Moodle. Okay, Asaf, do you want to ask your question by voice and explain how you're using AI? Sounds interesting.
Sure. Well, I haven't done it just yet, but I understand there are models of AI that Moodle works with. I just wanted to know if you had if you already implement any of these. Are they supposed to take that data and then either automatically or suggest to a teacher to send automatic emails to anybody who's lacking behind?
Yes, that's available. There's a lot of machine learning on the Moodle, especially now with I'm using the latest 3.10.3 Force coming out, hopefully in the fall. I'm looking forward to that. But yes, they're adding a lot of new things. And yes, there are emails that are sent by the system. The system does a lot of work, in fact. So it saves time. As far as support goes, it does, you can configure it to send emails out automatically for various things. So yes, there are lots of plugins. Some are free, but some also cost money. So yes, Asaf, if you're interested in plugins, you can go into moodle.org and get the current plugins. And if you're interested in anything that's not there, you can ask for it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you.
So just reminders that April 21st will be a panel discussion